Hey, friend. Today I want to talk about excuses. I had six babies in 12 years, so I was waking up throughout the night to nurse a baby for like 24 years. The clean laundry was never folded and put away. I had chickens pooping all over everything and eating my entire winter garden, which was only mustard greens because everything else had died. And my dad had just been diagnosed with a terminal disease. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, I desperately wanted to write my own comeback story in my health. And I had every excuse in the world not to write it. So here's what my excuse list sounded like. I'm too exhausted to think about what I'm eating. I forget all day to eat, and then I'm starving by the time the kids are in bed. I've tried everything, and nothing works for my body. I keep gaining the weight back, so what's the point? Maybe this just happens after four kids or six kids, and I should just be content as I am. Every single one of those excuses felt completely true. Like every single one felt like the most reasonable and responsible thing to say. And here's what I learned the hard way. When you repeat your excuses, you fight for them. And if you decide to keep fighting for your excuses, you won't have enough fight in you to fight for your goals and dreams. So here's what I've tried before I found out what actually worked. I tried Whole30. I did a couple Daniel fast. I had an 18-page nutrition plan from my trainer, and that had me going from the farmer's market to three different grocery stores just to get the ingredients. And then I had to prepare 4 to 6 meals a day and work out consistently. And then I was being a good 90s girl. So I had gone low fat at one time. That was what everyone was doing. None of it stuck. None of it worked the way I needed it to work in the season I was actually living. And that became my most comfortable excuse. I had tried everything. My body just doesn't respond the way other women's bodies do. This is just my reality. But here's what I now know that I did not know then. I had not failed. I had tried the right things at the wrong time without the right support, without understanding what my body actually needed in that season. And every single attempt taught me something. Every plan that fell apart was pointing me toward what actually would work. And the day I stopped fighting for the excuse and started asking what I had not tried yet, everything changed. And then there were the meals, or honestly, the lack of them. I told myself, here's the next excuse, I don't have time to eat. I had too much going on. The kids were the priority. They always were. I always made their lunches first. And whatever was left, that was mine. So I existed off the crust of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or the half-eaten goldfish or whatever I could grab with one hand while I was already doing three other things with the rest of my body. Like that was my nutrition plan, guys. I was a mommy vacuum cleaner. Like I vacuumed up scraps and leftovers and whatever nobody else wanted. And I told myself it was a sacrifice. I told myself it was motherhood. I told myself that the kids needed more than I needed a real meal. But here's what I now know that I did not know then. In that kitchen, eating crust off a 2-year-old's plate, when I did not fuel myself, I had less of everything to give to them, less patience, less energy, less presence, less joy. And the empty cup was not noble, it was empty. So filling myself up was not taking from them. It was the thing that made everything I gave them actually worth something or more than it was. The excuse became the most compelling reason why I had to start. I can't, I have too many kids became, I must, I have so many kids. Here's a third example. About 9 years ago, I was at a girls' night out and I left perfectly full, perfectly fresh margarita sitting on the table. And I walked away, not because someone told me to, not because I had a problem, but because I started asking a question I couldn't stop thinking about. Could I become the person that drink was making me feel like? It was making me feel relaxed and calm and patient and present at ease in my body. But could I cultivate those things without it? The excuse had always been, I need it to unwind. I deserved it after the kind of day I had. that it was the one thing that helped me slow down and be present with my people. And when I flipped that excuse, it became the most powerful why in my journey. I did not want to need something outside of myself to feel like the woman I wanted to be. I wanted to be her for real in my actual body with my actual life on an actual Tuesday night when I was giving the kids a bath. So the excuse became the dare and the reason why I needed to do it. So, what are your health excuses? The ones you only think, the ones you tell your spouse at the end of a long day, the ones you give your coach when they ask, what is getting in the way of your journey making progress forward? I want you to write them down. The ones that feel the most true, the most permanent, the most reasonable. And then next to each one, I want you to write 5 words, which means I absolutely must. And then finish the sentence. I'm too exhausted to think about food, which means I absolutely must find a plan simple enough it doesn't require thinking. I've tried everything, nothing works, which means I absolutely must find the right support for this specific season of my life. I'm too busy to feed myself, which means I absolutely must find an approach so simple I can do it with one hand while holding a baby. I should just be content as I am, which means I absolutely must remember that content doesn't mean complacent, and God has more for me. Your excuses, my friend, are not disqualifications. They're invitations. They're the exact evidence of why your comeback story matters, why it has to be written, and why your family needs you to stop waiting for a more convenient season. This really matters. The most powerful why you have is hiding inside the excuse you've been fighting hardest for. Today is the day to find it, to flip it into your most compelling reason why you must move forward. So your tiny step today is to write down your 3 biggest excuses, then write, which means I absolutely must, next to every single one, and finish the sentence. And then read them out loud. You're not out of reasons to start. You're full of reasons to start. And you, my friend, are an overcomer. You just have to dare to begin. So let's begin.